You wanna know who I am? Folks call me the Bone Man. Ain't my real name, but it's the one that's stuck. Music's got power and you already know that. But sometimes it don't just move your soul. Sometimes it tears the veil. Tonight on Requiem Radio, we go back nearly a century to a forgotten stage in the Carpathian Mountains, where a mad conductor picked up a lost piece of music by Alexander Scriabin, a piece meant to end the world. He didn't just play it, he opened it, and something crawled through. So hush now, don't hum along, and whatever you do, don't listen too close. This one's called the final chord of Scriabin.
In 1924, a reclusive Russian conductor named Anton Tarasov inherited a peculiar manuscript from his late mentor. It was an unknown fragment of Alexander Scriabin's Mysterium, and was said to be penned in the composer's own hand. Scriabin never finished the entire piece, of course, and perhaps, thank God. According to legend, Scriabin believed its full performance would end the world, not figuratively, but through an ecstatic collapse of reality itself. Tarasov believed him, and more than that, he believed the Mysterium was a summoning. He claimed the music was a key, a ritual, and a beacon, but not to heaven, but to something else. Tarasov located a derelict opera house in the Carpathian Mountains. The locals refused to go near it, as the building had burned once during a 19th century performance of Faust, killing dozens of people. They said the stage itself was cursed and was a place where evil things had been invited through. Tarasov was undeterred. He gathered a small ensemble of avant-garde musicians and a monastic choir sworn to silence except in sacred chant. Their instruments were esoteric, as there were glass harmonicas, subsonic resonators, gongs tuned using lunar gravitation cycles, and chimes carved from meteoric iron. The lighting was synchronized to Scriabin's own synesthetic color theories. Incense smoldered, not from herbs, but from powdered fossils and dried blood. Tarasov told his musicians, "You are not playing for anyone, but something will hear you." The performance began on the longest and darkest night of the year, the winter solstice. There was no audience, there were only the performers and the storm rising outside. The music was wrong from the very first note. It wasn't dissonant, it was just somehow impossible. It was a geometry of sound that bent the mind. It was notes that seemed to echo before they were played. It was voices that harmonized with things not present. As they neared the segment titled Preparation for the Emanation of Light, a pressure built in the room that had nothing to do with the Prismets. A drummer's mallet dissolved into splinters mid-stroke. A monk collapsed into a seizure with his eyes foaming while his mouth continued to sing. The chandeliers began to drip wax upward. But Tarasov didn't stop because he was smiling with his eyes rolled back. He was not conducting the music, but something lurking behind it. Then came the climax. It was a blinding ultraviolet flash, a scent like ozone and grave mold, and a final unspeakable chord that no human could have written. The walls began to hum, but not with sound. They hummed with something much deeper, with a vibration that rattled teeth and memories alike. The air split open. And from that rift came a presence which was a shape of crawling flesh. It was eyes without face and screams without voice. It was a creature of cosmic insanity. It was him. It was the crawling chaos. It was Nyarlathotep, the harbinger of the 1,000 masks, and that's when the candles went out. Several days later, when investigators arrived, the theater was empty. There were no bodies. There was just smoldering wax, ripped pages, and the scent of scorched nerve endings on the podium. The baton had turned to dust and above the stage, carved into the charred ceiling beams, a phrase in Old Church Slavonic that said, "He has heard the music." They say Tarasov succeeded, and that the Mysterium was never a symphony, but was the first performance of a summoning. The world didn't end in fire. Instead, it ended in tone and signal by extending an invitation. And something answered. Most of us didn't notice the shift, but we feel it now. We can feel it in the dreams, the static in our ears, and the unnatural pull toward unknown stars. Somewhere behind the veil, Nyarlathotep is listening and waiting. He listens through every broadcast tower, every satellite pulse, every whispered melody we don't remember learning, because he is still waiting for the final chord of the Mysterium to be played. And he is ready to sing for us.
You've been listening to Requiem Radio, where music bleeds into the supernatural. And that was the final chord of Scriabin. They say the world didn't end that night, just shifted a little sideways. Most folks didn't notice, but if you've ever heard a tune you don't remember learning, one that follows you into your dreams, well, maybe the conductor's still at work. And maybe that final chord ain't too far off. Ain't gonna be no mo tonight. Y'all rest easy. Don't let the dark drive you home.